explosive one. Here we see we're looking at Adam Fiffles versus Thomas Battaglia. Nice equipment set over on the side of Adam.
Now, I see that we got nice equipment sets on both sides. We do have a legendary on one side with what I like to call the best equipment over here with Heat Wave and Sash. Is there a reason, is there an advantage in this matchup to going first or second?
Oh, absolutely, Tannen. You want to go second. You do not want to start here. The reason is it allows you to seize the tempo. You're able to block this first salvo from your opponent. As you see Thomas lining up blocks, just looking to soak up as much of this damage as possible, sculpt the hand, come back on the next turn, have a nice little flurry of his own, set up an arsenal, and then just start the tempo rolling, make things happen. It's a huge, huge advantage to win the die roll and choose to go second in the FAB mirror.
Now, okay turn for Adam's first. He did leak a damage over and set up an arsenal, but here's what you're kind of alluding to. This is where it starts to get interesting because now all the tempo is on Thomas's side. The cards that Adam blocks with here are not going to get reset right away like you would be if you were going first.
Absolutely, Tannen. Huge advantage here. One of the actual strangest things about the FAB mirror is the way this works, where you just need to take a little bit more time and be willing to forgo that first turn and then get rewarded for it. And here we see Engulfing Flame Wave coming out from Thomas. Looks like a blue one here, so only an attack for 3. Not my favorite FAB card. I really, really love focusing in on the 1 cost, the 0 cost when I'm playing FAB, because it allows you that setup of a 1 cost or 0 cost into Searing Emberblade.
Now, that's a really, really good point. In FAB, you really want to prioritize the attacks that either cost 1 or cost 0, because you want to be playing as many cards from your hand a turn, especially in the mirror. But almost every FAB deck needs some amount of blue, right? And so this is where you're going to see cards like this, make it into the deck. This is maybe just kind of an offhand from Thomas here this turn. Yeah, that's what I feel, right, with the way this turn's playing out?
Sure, yeah. Not the most explosive turn here. You see the Phoenix Flame going to go ahead, be deployed. 1 go again is the play here. Those Phoenix Flames, though, they'll add up. We talked about the Kodachi feeling when you're seeing fine constructed. Phoenix Flames are almost substitute Kodachis sometimes with the way they just routinely present that annoying 1 point of damage over and over.
Yeah, and you'll see the players maybe even make efforts to not get to single life totals like 1, 2, or 3. They're trying to stay as high as possible, especially away from 1 or 2, where the Phoenix Flames start to become real cards. That's the biggest problem. If you ever have to block a Phoenix Flame, it feels awful.
Nightmare scenario, and one that's very, very hard to come back from.
And we do see Adam thinking about this quite a bit here.
Yeah, I want to note the Tiger Stripe Shuko. That's the legendary we see on the side of Thomas. I think it's fairly unlikely that the ability on this card comes into play all that often. Second or less base power attack you play each turn gets +1. I mean, it'll hit for sure. You see it on the Phoenix Flame here. But where I think this is really going to break things open is in that Blade Break 2 block. At some point, that's just going to be the deciding factor in this game. And I think everything's lined up so well for Thomas. You see the extra point of damage here being represented. You see Tiger Stripe Shuko ready to block and also went second. Just a really good spot to be in if you're Thomas.
Yeah, he's going to have an arsenal and pass back over. I think it's so important that you mention that here, that the Tiger Stripe Shuko can block for 2. So Thomas gets to just not only start the game second here, but he's to start at 22 in this matchup, which can be extremely, extremely important. Just because, like you said, I think it might even be game turning for it to be that way. And this looks like an Engulfing Flame attacking for 4 here to start off Adam's turn.
No, I think that's a resounding anger.
Resounding anger. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, so gonna go push for 4, like you said. Important on-hit effect on this one. I know a lot of people who rank this as the most important FAB card to have in your deck. Just think this is the one where every little bit of damage matters, especially when you're playing these FAB mirrors. And if this one is able to add a little bit of damage on the backside, I'm sorry, Mounting Anger here. If this is able to add a little bit of damage to the next attack, it'll make a big difference.
Yeah, and 4 being a really important attack point here. While, 3 is generally, 4 is the break point, right? But 3 is actually kind of a break point in the mirror a lot too, because some of these cards, like you see here, just have 2 defense. Another attack for 4 here.
Yeah, because Adam did have the banish there for the Mounting Anger, able to find, only had 1 Draconic Chain Link, but had Lava Vein Loyalty, which costs 0, so that's going to get a buff.
And while we talked about the tempo being in Thomas's side of the board, Adam is putting up quite a fight here.
Heck of a turn here.
Yeah, attack for 3 with the weapon, and that's going to follow up with a Phoenix Flame as well.
But you
And
see
then
what
we're not even done.
You see what Thomas's plan, though. Thomas has already decided, I'm not blocking anything. I'm taking all of this. And what Thomas is praying for on this turn, he does not want Adam to be able to present lethal. If Adam presents lethal, it totally changes everything for Thomas because that'll take a card from his hand. In this scenario, though, this is what Thomas was anticipating. He knew there was going to be a lot of damage. I think maybe Adam pushed a little bit more than he expected, and you see the value of that anger there, adding +1 to the Lava Vein loyalty. But now Thomas has to decide, do I stick to the plan? Do I keep not blocking here? Do I eat this damage, fall to dangerous 2, and try and get a really nice clapback?
Is there a point where you start to bring your armor out and block? Because I think going to 2 is so dangerous. Like you said, those Phoenix Flames start to become so relevant.
I will tell you, Thomas wants to get one more point of damage out of that Tiger Stripe Shuko. Like, I don't want to downplay the offensive side of Tiger Stripe. I said it's probably the Blade Break block that matters, only because the game isn't going to go that long. There's not going to be that many chances for this to give an attack +1. But if you get it twice, you've now pulled 2 damage and 2 defense from your armor. That's an incredible, incredible return. And let's see if Thomas is able to execute on that plan, find a little damage here. It's Brandwith Cinderclaw going to go ahead, start the turn. Of course, one of those classic turn starters for FAB. Natural go again on that. Next attack can get Draconic, but it already has it. Searing Emberblade coming in for 3 here.
Yeah, Thomas showing you why he wanted to keep his hand. It looks like he's got a very wide hand this turn.
Yeah.
He probably follows up with 2 more attacks plus a Phoenix Flame.
Definitely. Has a Phoenix Flame in hand, so that'll come down for free.
I think he's going to be able to rupture this turn as well.
Yeah, and there's the Phoenix Flame getting the boost from Tiger Stripe Shuko. So was able to find that one more +1, getting tremendous returns. And now you see the pressure for Adam. This is the big turning point. Is Thomas going to be able to get Adam's whole hand? That's the goal. You put someone in the lock, take their whole hand, take away their offense. Meanwhile, Adam's saying, please don't present lethal. I just need to find a way to get through this turn.
Here we go, another Lava Vein loyalty for 3 here. We know that just like Adam's last turn, the card behind this wall, oh, hey, maybe they're arsenaling this, or maybe it's not another big attack. It is actually a big attack back from here. And Adam really thinking about this. He's got 3 cards in his hand left over. He's not one to give one of those cards up too much if he can avoid it. He's trying to make sure that he can present back a lot of damage as well.
This is the nightmare scenario when you're forced to go first in the FAB mirror. And now you see card coming out of hand for Adam, making the block here, but we do have a follow-up. It looks like it's a breaking point, so that huge Draconic chain link coming through is able to get the rupture, and that's going to bring Adam down to 3, does survive.
But only with 2 cards in his hand here. That's the big point.
Yeah, let's see how much damage Adam can present here. Okay.
Looks like there's going to be a single attack turn. Oh, he's going to have go again here. He's going to be able to use the weapon. Okay, that was a blue that was pitched.
Yeah, and this isn't bad here. Dust Runner Outlaw coming down, going to represent a decent chunk of damage. Does have the follow-up in the terms of the Searing Ember Blade. So, you know, as far as 2-card hands go, I don't think this is the end of the world. Now let's see if this is the point. And we talk about that tempo swing, and I keep referencing this Tiger Stripe Shuko. If Thomas is able to find a block with that, that leaves him at 1. So block this entire attack maybe, use the Tiger Stripe to soak up that next follow-up from the Searing Ember Blade. Those type of scenarios can be absolutely game-changing and turn the tide in favor of Thomas.
Absolutely, and you would love, as Thomas' side, to be able to win this game without Adam being able to deploy any of his impactful equipment this game. You know, you see that Heat Wave, you see that Sash still there.
Yep.
If you can win a game without those being activated, you've got to feel like that's a big win as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Equipment, you know, dictates so many results in Flesh and Blood. It's so critical to get maximum value, but it's hard. It's hard in the FAB mirror. It's so fast. And you see we're already at our end game stage, very different from what we saw in that round 1 Dromai mirror.
All right, it does look like we're going to go ahead and full block this.
Yep. Makes sense. Searing Ember Blade coming in. Is this the moment for the Tiger Stripe? Oh, Tiger Stripe was using that first block. That makes perfect sense. This is the turn you want to use it. So here's another full block. Phoenix Flame on the follow-up here. Heat Wave going to go ahead and give that a buff.
Looks like we're going to pitch here to use a Quell. Yep. Okay.
Just barely staying alive there. So was able to find that additional source of damage.
Yeah, and those equipment pieces getting cashed in for Adam here in a very good spot. It didn't push a ton of damage, but it got him into a good spot to possibly be able to win the game from here because Thomas's only attack this turn looks like it's going to be his weapon. No arsenal. He's just going to have 4 cards left over from here.
Yeah, pretty big swing there. Was able to use the Heat Wave to add a little buff there. Used the Sash to create the resource to return the Phoenix Flame. So got very good value basically at the last possible moment out of that equipment. Now, Thomas does present lethal here, so we know it's going to take a card, but Adam getting to play a 3-card hand here, whereas on these last 2 turns, you saw Adam had to play with a 2-card hand, Thomas playing with just a 1-card hand here. I would say things have shifted soundly back in Adam's favor, and I think, Thomas was advantaged to start this match for sure. Going second, really big deal. That Tiger Stripe Shuko, really big deal. I do think the first few hands he drew, a lot of yellows, a lot of blues. It didn't really feel like the damage output was there for Thomas.
Yeah, I think the first turn after, drawing back up after the first turn of the game, so his real first attack, that's the turn you're supposed to take the tempo from your opponent. You're supposed to really, really put yourself firmly ahead. That turn was a little underwhelming.
I agree. And
I think that's kind of where this game has kind of spiraled out of control for him. Nothing against the way Adam or Thomas has played this. I think it's been impressive to see Adam play this game from, like, quote-unquote, behind.
No,
yeah.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, and to find a spot like this where I'm agreeing with you. I think he's ahead. He's just trying to figure out here, what's my best block? Do I want to go to 1 here? Do I want to block with something that only blocks for 2? Or do I want to block something that only blocks for 1 and see how low I can go and how much I present back? I think he has a Phoenix Flame in his hand that's probably messing up the math a little bit.
Yeah, I expect if he's there's no real way to block one. It's short of using the Helios Miter. That could be an option here. Maybe you just want to pitch something and use that. But I think it's more likely we just see a 1-card block here. Try and play with a 3-card hand. A lot of time, your 3-card offensive hand can get 4 defensive cards from the opposing fight. And when that happens, it's the Phoenix Flame lock at that point.
Now, I'm trying to catch this. The card that he just moved to the front of his hand, I think that's an attack reaction. And if that is, that
rapid reflex.
That might be good enough to win the game.
I think you might be right, and that could be a real wrench in Thomas's plan. So it is going to be a block here.
Looks like a breaking point. It's going to full block out.
Deployed.
Yeah. So we're going to go up to a full hand here from Thomas. 3 cards left over from Adam. The Phoenix Flames are looming because Thomas is at 1. Yeah, so he's going to start off with a Phoenix.
And this could be it, Tannen. And there is the rapid reflex. That's going to go ahead.
Yeah, and look, you see Thomas put his head down.
Nowhere.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you're just trying to power up your weapon here or something like that. I've definitely started out with attacks for 0 with Phoenix Flame on turns
100%.
before.
That's a really good bluff, a really painful bluff. Time for Helios Miter. Let's see if we have enough pitch here. There's 3. Has to have 6 pitch. There's 5. There's 6. No, excuse me. Will that do it? Yes, it will. Keeps him alive. Keeps him alive for 1 more turn. And that was Adam's entire hand. So went for the big bluff. It's rare that a 5 would have 6 resources, quite frankly. But again, I kind of think this is an incredible follow-up from Thomas, given the circumstances. Getting 4 damage out of your hand here, not bad considering you just faced down a very, very threatening attack. Didn't do much on your last turn. So I'd still put things soundly in Adam's favor right now. But I think Thomas weathered that turn pretty impressively. It certainly seemed like the game was over.
Oh, absolutely. So you're going to see how does Adam want to block here. It looks like he might be considering blocking with 2 cards and blocking out the full 4 just because maybe his hand is a little awkward here. I see a tome in his hand. Yeah, there's a tome in his hand for sure here that's not going to do much. I think I see an Inflame as well, an attack for only 1 here. So he's trying to figure out exactly how much does he want to block this turn. Looks like he's going to go ahead and take some damage here. Is this down? So now both players are at that amount that we talked about that's super dangerous where we're at 1.
Pretty scary.
We saw how good Phoenix Flames can be in these spots. So it looks like we're going to have a lead out with an attack here. Yeah, this does have go again.
Natural go again there.
Attacking for 4.
Able to pitch that tome. So real problem hours now. This demands 2 cards from Thomas. 2 Phoenix Flames in the yard. We assume one of them will be coming back. If that card in Adam's hand, again, demands 2 cards, game's over. That's it. So 4 power or more. Game is over if Adam is able to deploy it.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just a weapon behind this, you're probably going to get all the cards out of Thomas's hand and just get to go again on your own turn.
Yeah, it depends what the block values are. I mean, Phi, not really known for having a ton of block 3s. I think it is a differentiating point between really good Phi lists and ones that don't really meet the mark. So if this hand is just loaded with 2 blocks, that could also present a large problem for Thomas. What is the follow-up here? It looks like it's going to be an Inflame going to return that Phoenix Flame.
And so this is a really solid play from Adam here because what this does is this means all the cards from Thomas's hands have to come out here. So and this is going to get the last Phoenix Flame, and now it's going to be the game.
And that's the W for Adam. Really, really well played game from a disadvantaged position. Tannen, you talk to players about this Phi mirror. Some of them are go as far as saying it's just about the die roll. They don't think anything else matters. And look, I'm not
with everything fair. With everything fair.
I'm not trying to take away from the die roll advantage. It's a huge advantage to go second in the Phi mirror. But there you saw a pull from behind victory. Playing first, really impressive stuff. Also beating the legendary equipment.
I know, right?
Whenever you beat the legendary, it feels so
It always
good.
feels really good. Yeah, so I was saying, it was a really impressive win from Adam here. It was definitely stacked against him. Going second.
Going first. He went
sorry,
first.
going first.
I know
Yeah,
what you're
right.
saying. Your instinct is
Yeah,
you're so aggressive.
yeah.
You want to go first, but it's different here. It's different in the five.
Having to play against the legendary equipment, which ended up being pretty impactful. But this game did kind of devolve into what you see a lot of the 5 mirrors happen. I always talk about this. It feels like, we saw this from Adam's opponent, where there's the turn where you have to make the decision where you're like, okay, I'm not blocking. Send me the bill.
Bring it.
Yeah,
just bring it. You
tell me how much I'm taking.
You look away from the arena, and then you let your opponent say, how much? How much? I'm not blocking.
Is it 20? I'm not blocking.
If it's less than 20, I'm not blocking.
So you just move all in, right? And then the game gets scrappy from then on out. It's just, hey, how can I block this turn to where I can present an attack, in this turn? And so that's super, super impactful and super, super important in this games. And then you saw what we talked about. We alluded to, don't go to 1 if you can avoid.